Welcome to the public consultation event for the redevelopment at Oakleigh House. My name is Mary Hutchison and I'm an architect in the specialist housing team at PRP. PRP have been commissioned to design this new housing development on Beaver Lane in Beaver Green by Ashford Borough Council. PRP has a dedicated team who specialise in the design of housing for people with a care need. We are based in Surrey and over the past 25 years we've been designing specialist housing projects across the UK. In collaboration with Ashford Borough Council, PRP designed Danemore in Tenterden and Farrow Court in Ashford, both of which provide independent living for older people. Farrow Court also has some supported housing for people with learning disabilities. The following pages will give you an overview of the design that we have developed to date for Oakleigh House. For us to best understand the opportunities for this site, we have undertaken an analysis of the area, which can be seen here. The photographs are taken around the local area. You can see that the surrounding suburban houses vary in height from bungalows up to three-storey townhouses and apartment buildings. Around the site you can find small local shopping areas, open green spaces and parking courts. The pedestrian routes which run through Beaver Green provide access to the linear park bordering Knoll Lane to the west. You can also find more local amenities within walking distance, including a co-op supermarket at the Brookfield Road parade of shops. Strong public transport links are provided in the area, including a bus stop on Cross Stile, and for ongoing travel, the Ashford International Train Station is approximately 1.4 miles away. The western portion of the site currently contains the former sheltered housing scheme known as Oakleigh House and a block of flats. Oakleigh House is currently vacant because the accommodation is outdated and no longer meets the needs of the older residents. The block of flats is due to be vacated imminently. The eastern portion of the site is currently undeveloped and is overlooked by houses along the northern boundary. The residents in these properties do not have dedicated parking spaces to the front of their properties and therefore sometimes park on this open green space. There is also a public right-of-way running between these two buildings which will need to be diverted in order for the development to proceed. The following diagrams explore the conceptual approach for the proposed new housing development. We've looked at the opportunities and constraints across the site so that the building designs respond very specifically to this location, whilst also providing a quality housing scheme that meets the needs of the new residents. The diagrams show how the proposals consider good orientation of the buildings, a balance of green and open spaces, ensuring that the community needs are met and that the building massing sits well within its context. Of particular note is the alignment of each of the proposed street elevations to match with the existing street frontages. You can see that a vista has been created along Watercress Lane that culminates at the old oak tree in the open space to the west of Beaver Lane. This vista is celebrated with the addition of an avenue of trees along Watercress Lane and by locating the communal and community facilities at the southern tip of the building. Ashford Borough Council has taken a proactive approach in re-providing their housing to improve the quality of the housing stock across the borough. In this location, Ashford Borough Council are proposing to co-locate independent housing for older people with supported housing for adults with learning disabilities, to provide new housing that will meet the needs of local people within Ashford. These images show how the floor plans are arranged around the site. The light blue colour represents a one-bedroom apartment and the dark blue colour shows the two-bedroom apartments. The yellow colours show the areas of communal and ancillary spaces. The larger western site comprises 51 apartments with communal spaces, arranged over 3 floors, and 3 further dwellings to the north of the site, forming a mews-style cluster of cottages, and these properties are for older people living independently. The smaller site to the east comprises 15 apartments, also arranged over 3 floors, providing supported housing for adults with learning disabilities. Together, the scheme proposes 69 dwellings. The main building is arranged around an open courtyard. The apartments are accessed from an open gallery, making them dual aspect. Some of the ground floor apartments will have front doors facing the streets to help enliven the street frontages and offer a different independent dwelling typology. The learning disabilities accommodation faces both Watercress Lane and Cross Stile. As a separation from the existing houses that face onto this green, a new linear public garden has been created, which includes dedicated parking for the existing residents living here. The proposals reposition the existing public right-of-way so that it will run to the north of the site in the form of a mews-style lane. This enables the same permeable feel that exists in the wider area to be maintained through this new development. This massing study is viewed from the south, looking towards the entrance court of the building. We are proposing a strong gable design along Beaver Lane, which responds to the stepping gable design of the facing properties. At the entrance court, the geometry of the splayed approach and the proposed avenue of trees all align to the view of the open green space along Watercress Lane. And finally, the cross-stile elevation is viewed as 2.5 stories to respect the massing of the adjacent properties along this street. Given the smaller footprint of the site of this building, we've designed it as a step down in massing. The second floor of the building will have the appearance of rooms in the roof, with a dormer style of inset balconies. This massing study is viewed from the north, looking at the rear of the building. It illustrates how the proposed development sits within its context and responds to each of the adjacent properties. The main building is 3 stories and addresses each of the streets in terms of alignment. The proposed building steps down in height along Watercress Lane to respect the scale of the neighbouring properties. The row of cottages to the northwestern corner of the site are single-storey, providing a step down in massing, mimicking that of the adjacent bungalow. The main entrance to both buildings will be from a new shared space at the intersection of Watercress Lane, Beaver Lane and Cross Stile. This image takes a closer look at the building entrances and communal areas. The facilities include a community room that has a direct access from the outside with views from the corner location to act as a focus for the wider community. A hair and therapy suite that can be open to the public with an independent shopfront entrance from Beaver Lane. And a communal lounge and garden room for the private use of the residents living in the building. This is a flexible space with sliding partitions that can divide and open up the room for smaller and larger gatherings. Within the scheme, the residents will also have access to a secure buggy parking room for their mobility scooters. There is a laundry room, and the scheme manager will have an on-site office in each building. The apartments are people's private and independent homes. They will provide aspirational open-plan living for the residents. This new building will create an enabling environment with features that will assist those with a variety of ageing needs, including mobility, hearing, visual and cognitive impairments. All of the apartments are designed to be care-ready and easily adaptable, exceeding the requirements of the building regulations. The generously sized windows to the lounges will ensure light, bright interiors and good views out for the residents. All of the apartments are designed to provide generous storage. The doors will be of sufficient width for the residents to use a wheelchair or a walking frame. The kitchens and bathrooms have been spaciously designed to allow wheelchair turning space, and the open plan arrangement provides living which is barrier-free. All will be well designed to offer a domestic non-institutional feel while providing an accessible and enabling environment. The elevation studies that can be seen here are small extracts of the main elevations to give you an idea of the proposals that are emerging in the design. The materials in the locality are varied in terms of texture and colour and detailing, and the proposed materials reflect this diversity, albeit using a simpler, more controlled palette. The elevation follows the traditional forms that can be seen in the wider Ashford area, delivered in a contemporary high-quality design. We are proposing a brick elevation, which is the predominant material in the area, with a red-coloured tiled roof. To add interest to the building and to define the functions within, the red-coloured brick will wrap around the communal rooms, the entrance and through the internal courtyard at ground floor level, while the light grey-coloured brick is decorated with a texture detailing, providing accents of interest along the elevations. The dwelling front doors will introduce colour, and the adjacent benches are proposed for sociability, giving an opportunity to sit and chat with your neighbour. The project will also consider how to enhance the neighbouring green spaces as part of the proposals. The landscape design team are looking at two main areas in and around Oakleigh House. Firstly, the landscape design for the new building will ensure that the garden spaces are accessible and enabling for the new residents to enjoy, and for the planting to offer both a sensory pleasure and biodiversity for the site. Each apartment will have its own private external space too, this being either a patio on the ground floor or a private inset balcony to the upper floor apartments. Beyond the curtilage of the new building, the landscape designers have also been appointed to look at the potential for enhancing some of the surrounding public open spaces for the benefit of the wider community. There are two of these areas marked with a question mark on the plan, one being the linear garden forming the link between Watercress and Cross Stile, and the second being the open space to the south, bound by Beaver Lane and Cleves Way. We would like to hear from you, the local community, about how you would like us to use this space if the landscaping were to be enhanced here. The space could be used for children's play or maybe an area for exercise. Perhaps you would like a community growing garden. We would love to hear your ideas first so that we design the space to meet your lifestyle. Ashford Borough Council have high aspirations for delivering an exemplar sustainable building to ensure the properties are future-proof for the next generations. Addressing the climate agenda is a crucial priority for the new development at Oakleigh House, and this diagram explains the many factors that are being considered for the new development. The key principles for Oakleigh House are to ensure that the design will be zero carbon in its ongoing operation, and we are therefore looking to generate the energy for heating and hot water on the site. We hope to do this by using ground source heat pumps, and the design team are currently investigating the possibilities of this. Where possible, on the south-facing roofs, we also want to install photovoltaic panels to generate electricity. The design will take a fabric-first approach, which means the building will be well insulated and efficient in its construction, by using good quality and robust materials. And the design is being carefully considered so that we avoid overheating within the scheme. For example, the balconies are inset, so the large windows are well shaded from the sun, and the apartments are accessed from an open gallery in the internal courtyard, so the quantum of internal corridors is much reduced. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our online public consultation. Please do complete the questionnaire from the website so that we can hear your thoughts and feedback to the new housing proposals at Oakleigh House. The slides are also available to download if you would like to take a look in more detail.